So, regarding inheritance that we started discussing last time, we have completed
Yes.
discussion about the important genetic terminologies. Okay.
Yes.
I assume that all the terms are very clearly understood by you properly.
Yes. Yes. Of course.
Yes. And then based on that, we will be discussing the further part of that, which is about Mendel's experiments. Okay, how he performed the crosses and how he has represented the crosses on paper. Okay,
Yes.
what results did Mendel get? And based on that, whatever laws or the theories of genetic, Mendel's laws of inheritance was postulated by him. So first we will
Yes.
complete that part. Okay. Okay. So see, first of all, as you remember in the previous session that we discussed, we are talking about a person who is credited with the title the father of genetics,
Yes.
Gregor Johann Mendel. He was an Austrian monk, right? And whatever experiments that he did was out of his curiosity to find out how these characters is getting transmitted from one generation to another. And for the we all right now we are aware that these characters are present in our genes. Okay, and it is the genes which are transmitted from one generation to another. But Mendel was not aware about something called genes or chromosomes or cell or something, because he whatever he did was only in the field. So for the word genes, he had used the word factors. Okay.
Oh.
So Gregor Mendel, you know very well, what was the plant that on which he had worked and carried out his experiments in the field?
Peace.
Yeah, pea plant, the garden pea. Okay, that is Pisum sativum. And you remember last time we had seen the 7 different characters on which the Mendel had actually worked, and they were having contrasting traits. Okay, the characters were with respect to the height of the plant, then the flower, the fruit, the pod, and the seed also. Okay. Now, actually, practically in the field, what did Mendel do? Okay, understand this way. See, you're able to see my whiteboard, right?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Now, suppose Mendel had a field and he had one plot on a field like this. Okay, some small area, a plot or an area in the field where he was growing pea plants. Okay, consider this as the pea plant. Okay, this is one plant. Like this, he has grown 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in separate rows and uniformly. Okay, so for example, he has grown say 100 pea plants in this plot.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
nearby, he is having another plot where he is growing 100 other pea plants. Consider 100 for example. Okay, because there is always a large number that is required. He has sown the pea seeds in equal intervals, so that there are 100 pea plants in one side, 100 pea plants on the other side. Okay. Now, what Mendel wanted was that pea plant is produces flowers which is bisexual, but Mendel did not want self-pollination to take place, and at the same time, Mendel did not want cross-pollination to take place naturally, like by wind or insects or something, because that would have been very uncertain. Okay. So Mendel ने क्या किया? He actually carried out the hybridization himself. That means he became the pollinating agent. So the first thing what he did was consider this one set of 100 plants as the male plants.
Okay.
Okay. इनका जो female part है वो ignore किया. That was not required. But इनके जो male parts है flowers में जो anthers है from the androecium. अभी for example this is plant number 1 and this is plant number 1 on this side. तो plant number 1 के anthers को निकालकर the pollen grains were dusted on the stigma of this one.
Oh, okay, got it.
Got it? And once the stigma was dusted with the pollen grains of this one, this flower was, the stigma was bagged. मतलब there was a small paper pouch or something जो उसको ढक दिया उससे. Because once the stigma is receiving the pollen grains from this one which Mendel had done, then the stigma should not
Correct.
remain open. Otherwise, from the air, some other pollen grain can come and contaminate it.
Oh, right.
Mendel
Yes.
was avoiding any other pollination to take place.
Okay,
it?
got it.
So like
Yes.
that he did it.
Yes.
कि एक साइड में सारे मेल्स को कंसीडर किया, तो इसमें से एंथर्स को निकाल कर pollination on this side. And because he has backed
okay.
the stigma
Got
over
it.
here, so the stigma is protected. It has received the pollen grain only from this one.
Okay, got
Okay.
it.
So Mendel was having that much
Yes.
patience to do all this, right? So ये parental generation
correct.
considered. This is the parental generation. So like that, parent number one, parent number one, parent number two, parent number two. ऐसे करते करते 100 plants का उसने खुद से pollinate.
Oh, okay, got it.
This is
Yes.
only the first step of the experiment.
Oh my God. Okay, got it.
Okay. Then what
Yes.
happened? Because pollination was there, so there was a very high chance that pollination was successful. Because
Correct.
he himself had dusted the pollen grains on the stigma, right?
Yes.
So because the pollination took place, now it was followed by fertilization.
Ah,
We have
okay,
seen
got it.
double fertilization, you remember.
Yes, I
Pollen
have.
tubes are formed. The pollen tube penetrates to the style, goes all the way to the ovule, releases the male gametes over there. Fertilization
Yes.
takes place, syngamy and triple fusion. Okay,
Yes.
so there is a seed in the
Yes.
pod which is produced. Now wherever the flower was there it is replaced by a pod with seeds inside. And that's what
seed?
pod with the seeds inside.
Okay, yes, correct.
After fertilization, right?
Yeah.
So Mendel wanted that ultimately. And another thing which Mendel did was when he selected the parents, he has selected the parent plants also carefully. You remember there was a term called pure line that we understood.
Pure line, oh yes, I remember.
Okay, that means over a period of generations, if the same traits are getting repeated. So parental plants were the ones which were exhibiting pure lines. So all the parents over here were homozygous tall. And here all of them were dwarf. Got it? That means here we are talking only about the height of the plant. Mendel observed only one character at a time when he was carrying out monohybrid cross. That means here he was looking at only the height of the plant. So he was not concerned where is the flower produced, what is the color, what type of a pods are produced, how much seeds are there. Those were which were not which were ignored by that time. One character was considered in this experiment. Okay. Now from here after fertilization the seeds were produced. And those seeds were nothing but the F1 generation.
Yes.
Getting it? So from here,
yes, I got it.
The seeds were produced. Those seeds were sown on a separate plot. The plant number, parent number one, parent number one के seeds यहाँ लगा दो. Parent number two के seeds इधर लगा दो.
Okay, got it.
Like that up to 100. So he has got 100 little plants now.
Yes.
So अभी ये parents सब tall है, ये सारे parents dwarf हैं. तो Mendel wanted to see कि जब इनके young ones are, these are the offsprings, the F1 generation. So what type of produced?
What type of
Plants are produced, whether they are tall or dwarf.
Oh, okay.
So what did Mendel see? F1 generation में all of them were tall.
F1 generation all of them were tall.
Tall. Mendel saw that. So Mendel was expecting कि अगर यहाँ tall है, यहाँ dwarf है, तो offspring में दोनों के characters जाने चाहिए.
Correct.
But why only tall plants were produced here? So it was a question mark. In order to answer that, what did Mendel do? He continued this experiment further. अब ये F1 generation था. अब इन्हीं F1 के बीच में he has carried out the cross. Cross of
carried out
1
the-
with 2, 2 with 3, 3 with 4, 4 with 5.
Okay, got it.
Offsprings of the
Yes.
same generation. उनके बीच में ही क्रॉस की.
Got it.
सेम मेथड कि एक प्लांट में से एंथर्स लिए, दूसरे के स्टिग्मा में पोलन ग्रेन डस्ट किया, देन इट वाज बैग्ड, इट वाज अलाउड टू फर्टिलाइज, प्रोड्यूस द पॉड्स एंड द सीड्स, एंड ऐसे करते करते इनका जो सीड्स मिला, they were sown in another separate plot from here which were obtained, and now these were known as the F2 generation.
Of course, yes, got it.
Understood?
Yes.
तो अभी यहाँ जो सीड्स ग्रो कर रहे हैं, okay, they were allowed to germinate and see what plants are coming out.
Okay, wow, nice.
So again, suppose 100 plants थे, so now Mendel was surprised to see that out of 100, 75 were tall, okay, and remaining 25 were dwarf in that ratio.
Okay, got it.
So Mendel gave a thought कि parental generation में this dwarfness was there, जो F1 generation में आया ही नहीं, सब tall थे. Then how come F2 generation again expressed the tallness and dwarfness?
Okay,
So
got
Mendel
it.
understood and declared कि this feature, now he was not aware about the terms like a trait or a recessive character or anything like that. He just said that this factor of dwarfness was there in the F1 also, but did not express.
Okay,
And it
got it.
expressed itself when the F2 generation was produced. And that's how he came to the
Okay, got
topic of dominance and recessiveness. And today we are aware about this. अब ये जो experiment
Okay.
Mendel ने practically किया, you understood practically what he did in the field?
Yes.
Okay, now this was
Yes.
one example I showed you for tall and dwarf. But Mendel
Yes.
has studied for how many characters totally on pea plants?
How many characters?
Pea plants पे कितने characters दिख रहे हैं?
दो.
7 characters. भूल गई क्या?
Oh right, seven. वैसा कर
Mendel
करके
studied 7 characters, 2 contrasting traits. Please use the correct word at the correct place.
Of course.
7 characters and 2 traits. Did you understand?
Yes.
Okay. So अभी पहला experiment ये पूरा किया for tall and dwarf. Second time when he repeated the similar experiment, that time he was not looking at the height of the plant. That time he considered the spore, the position of the flower, and then did all the process once again. He got the similar answer. Third time when he repeated, he saw for the color of the flowers, purple colored with white colored. He carried out all the way till F2. Again he got same answers.
Okay.
When he carried out the experiments again and again for 7 different characters, he almost got similar answers. Maybe plus minus 1 or 2 here and there, that error can be due to any reason, but in that maximum ratio was 3:1.
Okay, got it.
Okay,
Yes.
that's how he performed something called as monohybrid cross.
Monohybrid cross.
Yes. Got it?
Yeah, got it.
Monohybrid means a cross which is carried out considering only one character at a time.
One character at a time.
That time when he was observing the height of the plant, he was not looking at other characters.
Oh.
He was observing only the height. When he was observing the color of the flower, he was not looking at other characters. So one character at a time. Now this entire thing, the monohybrid cross, suppose if we represent like this. Okay, now this is the parental generation.
Yes.
One parent is homozygous tall. You remember the word now.
Yes.
This is crossed with another parent, which is, what will you call this? What will be the phenotype of small t, small t? Tell properly.
Small t is this. One is genotype, then phenotype.
If I'm asking you what is the phenotype of small t, so what will be your answer? Quick. This is homozygous tall. Phenotype मतलब क्या? Externally visible features of any organism. Are you getting it? Are you getting it, Supriya?
Wow.
The phenotype of capital T when you write is homozygous tall.
हाँ,
Okay.
correct. Homozygous.
So what is the phenotype of small t?
Homozygous short.
That's the
Homozygous
mistake.
dwarf.
That's the mistake you are telling. Think again.
How?
I'm asking you about small t. That means it is dominant or recessive.
Recessive.
So when it is recessive, do you need to mention homozygous or heterozygous?
No. Oh yes, you told me. Yes, of course.
Got it?
Yes.
So here, when it is
Yes.
recessive, it is always homozygous because in heterozygous condition, recessive is never going to get expressed. So here, what are you going to write for small t? What is the phenotype?
Recessive.
Small t. What is the phenotype? Quick.
Phenotype में it is
It will be only,
dwarf.
of course.
Oh,
You
right.
said
Phenotype में dwarf आता है और इसमें oh yes now I get it. Now I got it.
phenotype का
Yes.
मतलब क्या है? What is the externally visible character? Are you getting it? So whenever there is a
Getting it.
question asked, what is the phenotype of so and so? Quickly tell what is the feature. Tall है कि dwarf है, round है, wrinkled है, yellow, green, whatever.
Yes.
Have you understood this?
Yes.
And if the question is asked, what is the genotype? Then tell the letters with capital and small. Is this point clear?
Point clear.
Again, if I'll ask you any genotype or a phenotype, I don't want you to do the acting of thinking. Is that clear now?
Fine.
And for recessive, that is here small t, because it's a recessive character, you don't need to mention whether it is homozygous or heterozygous. Remember that. That's the reason I have written only dwarf, because recessive is always homozygous. Only for a dominant one, you will mention whether it is homozygous or heterozygous. Is this point clear? Now,
Clear.
that was the parents. Okay. Each of them will produce the respective gametes.
Okay.
Concentrate. Understand this point.
Yes.
So when the gamete formation takes place, because there are two letters we are writing in the genotype, during gamete formation, they will separate or segregate and will form each of the gametes.
Yes.
That means one allele will go into each gamete. Gamete means they are haploid.
Haploid.
Getting it? So genotype agar diploid hai, to gamete will be haploid. So here there are two types of one type of gamete formed. All of them are having only capital T allele in it.
Okay, got it.
Same way here also the gametes which are formed, all of them are of the same type. Remember this fact, homozygous condition, whether it is dominant or recessive, will produce only one type of gamete. Is it clear now? So all the gametes produced over here will be only small t, because there is no other allele present.
Yes.
Now there will be fertilization. One gamete from here will fuse with one gamete from here, and it will give rise to what? The F1 generation.
F1 generation.
So one of this crossed with one of this. So you're getting what? How will you tell the phenotype for this one? Quick.
Dominant.
See what I have told for the phenotype in parental gene. यहाँ क्या बोला मैंने phenotype के लिए? According to that, tell me what is the phenotype for here, this one. Properly. The phenotype for the F1 generation over here would be heterozygous tall, because you can see one dominant allele and one recessive allele. And that's the reason. See, the F1 generation, here it is all tall. That's what Mendel saw over here. All of them are coming out to be tall. But Mendel was not aware that all these tall were heterozygous ones. Okay, because they were all heterozygous, externally, phenotypically, they were all appearing as tall. Okay, that's how we understand the F1 generation. Okay, now let us take a look at the F2 generation now. Okay, what Mendel did was something called selfing. Okay, so when Mendel carried out the selfing, what did he do? He has crossed the F1 or offsprings with themselves. Okay, so because of the selfing, now what has happened? See here. See now, because of the selfing, what Mendel did? F1 selfing. Okay, so when the F1 selfing was done, what did Mendel get? He has crossed heterozygous tall, which was obtained in the F1, with another heterozygous tall, like this. Okay, so now F1 offsprings, which were heterozygous tall, they are the parents for the next generation. Similarly, they will also produce the gametes. But here, because they are heterozygous, they will produce two types of gametes. One with a capital T allele or a dominant allele, another one with a small t allele. So whatever number of gametes they might produce, even if there are thousands of gametes, 50% would be with a dominant allele, 50% would be with a recessive allele. And the same will happen with the other parent also. Two types of alleles. I hope the gamete formation is clear. It is only because of the segregation that is getting place. Now, any gamete from this side of one parent can fuse with any gamete of the other parent. That means there is a very equal probability that a tall allele of one parent can cross with either tall or dwarf allele of the other parent. Okay, so let's take a look at what is happening after this. So in order to get the next generation, that is known as the F2 generation. Okay, Mendel made something known as a Punnett square. That is a checkerboard method we say. Okay, so it's like the Punnett square is prepared. All the male gametes are on one side, all the female gametes written on the other side. Okay, so capital T and small t over here, capital T and small t over here. Okay, so both the probabilities are existing. So here the genotype of the offspring, if these two gametes are fusing, it is homozygous tall. Okay, it is homozygous tall. One T from here, another T from here. Okay, same way this T and this T is coming out to be heterozygous tall. This one is heterozygous tall. Okay, same way this one will always be heterozygous tall. Whenever you are writing any genotype, always remember you have to write the dominant allele first followed by the recessive allele in a heterozygous condition in one genotype. Okay, so you will never write small t, capital T, that's an incorrect way. So this one is also heterozygous tall. Okay, and the last possibility is both are recessive. So this one would be dwarf. This one would be dwarf. Okay, so based on this, one can determine the ratio. Okay, now the ratios can be determined in two possible ways. One is the phenotypic ratio. That means in the F2 generation, what are the different phenotypes of the offsprings that are being available? So there are two possible phenotypes. Offsprings are either tall or they are dwarf. Two possibilities. Okay, so according to the checkerboard, you can see this is tall, this one is tall, this is also tall. That means three are tall. Okay, one is dwarf. That's why the phenotypic ratio of a monohybrid cross is 3:1. And when Mendel carried this out for even other characters, other 6 characters of the pea plant, Mendel obtained the same ratio. That's what I said in the beginning, 75:25. Or whatever is the ratio, but ratio is 3:1. Okay, and one can also determine the genotypic ratio. That means when you say 3 tall, 3 out of that you can see homozygous tall, okay, and other tall is heterozygous one, okay, followed by dwarf. Dwarf is only homozygous always. So from this also, if you count from the checkerboard now, homozygous tall is 1, heterozygous tall is 2, dwarf is 1. So the genotypic ratio of a monohybrid cross is always 1:2:1. It's always a symmetrical ratio which you get. Okay, so these all things were kept in record by Mendel, and here one can see that in the F1 generation, all of them were only tall phenotypically. But then when the F2 was produced, it was seen that the dwarfness is appearing again. And now from this cross, we can understand that the recessive allele for dwarfness is, you can say, suppressed in the F1 generation because there is another dominant allele in front of it. This was understood by Mendel in his own ideas, in his own terms. Later on, we understood it in a proper genetic way. That is why phenotypic ratio, genotypic ratio, that when it is determined, it becomes very important derivation of monohybrid cross. Okay, I hope this part is clear properly. Now, similarly, as monohybrid cross was carried out, there is something called dihybrid cross also which was done. Okay, that will be discussed together in the next session. Dihybrid cross followed by something called back cross and test cross. When everything is understood, we can understand Mendel's laws of inheritance properly. Okay, so understand this monohybrid cross properly, understand how to derive the ratios, and any possible question can be framed out of this and you can solve the answer. Okay, thank you.